Welcome to another exciting episode of the Burch Law Presents podcast, a Pegasus production. One of us knows what they are talking about, and the other one is you. And I'm joined today once again, as I always am so far, until we don't have them joining us. And that is Sarah Gibson, everybody, our marketing coordinator. Sam Anderson, our administrative assistant. And Cyntia Frederick, our operations manager. All right. So today's topic is a very timely topic. I mean, depending on when you're listening to this, but it's timeless, really. And that is something that a lot of people don't think about, which is really everything we talk about. But a lot of things, something that a lot of people don't think about, and that is the fact that, as silly as it sounds, once you turn 18, you're an adult, air quotes, which is just hilarious in and of itself. But legally, which is what really our common denominator is in the things that we talk about, you are legally adult. And that comes with a lot of things, a lot of responsibilities, a lot of changes, a lot of things that you don't want to face, and a lot of things you do want to face. We'll talk about all of those, or at least some of them. But when it comes to the world of estate planning, this is a time where it's a very good idea that you consider doing some legal planning. How many 18-year-olds have attorneys? Well, a lot of our clients do. And why? Jump in so there's no dead air, fellow Burch Law team members. What am I talking about? Why would an 18-year-old need to do any sort of legal planning? Go.
Because they're leaving home. They're typically
not necessarily
college. Well, no, that's what I'm saying. They're typically going off to college.
But even if they're not.
Yeah, at this point, I guess fine, if we're going back to the very fundamentals, your parents technically have no rights over you to make decisions for you, to have access to any of your medical information, quite frankly. And one of the things that a lot of people, parents, realize the hard way is if your kid goes to the hospital, they're not just going to take your word for it and just let you make decisions.
We had an instance early on in the practice where a mom called me and she wanted to see about getting a medical power of attorney and a medical record release done for her daughter because she was in college and she had an emergency appendectomy. And there was, for those of you who've been in the medical field, everything's with a code. And it was, and maybe one day we'll get into my background in the dental field. So I actually know this. It's kind of a strange little diversion I took. Anyway, everything is coded. And so it was miscoded for the insurance, and her insurance, the mom's insurance, because her daughter was covered under mom's insurance, rejected the claim. So mom calls her insurance company and says, why are you rejecting the claim for my daughter? And they would not talk to the mom, even her own insurance company, because her daughter was over 18. She's an adult. And without any sort of release, power of attorney, or authorization, she wouldn't even talk to her own insurance company. And so that, that was able to be sorted out, obviously. But in emergency situations, if an 18, 19, 20-something-year-old is rushed to the hospital and they're not able to communicate, nobody has automatic rights to get information or make any decisions. In fact, extrapolate that further, and if you're married, your spouse does not have automatic rights, assuming your spouse is over 18. That is not a rabbit hole I want to go down.
I hope so.
Not today, and maybe not ever.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe we will.
I mean, that's one of the things you can do by yourself when you're 18.
Anyway, well, in that case, I'm talking about under 18. So yeah. I think you can get married under 18 if you're like in the military. And anyway,
or if your parents sign off on it. I did some research.
Okay. Anyway, so 18, Once you turn 18, nobody, not a spouse, not a parent, nada, has these rights. And so what happens a lot, right now we're talking during graduation season, but it really doesn't matter. And as I like to point out, I was still 17 when I started law school. I'm not Doogie Howser. When I
Wow.
started college. So this doesn't really apply to me, but it applies to a lot of college students, especially since a lot of them are going off in the world. But for those who are maybe taking a little bit longer, it still is important. So what should they do? What should they do? Well, typically what we recommend in every situation is customized and specific to the individual. But in general, we recommend three core documents. One is medical power of attorney, where they are choosing, more about that in a moment, but where the 18-plus-year-old, the adult, air quotes, wink, wink, is choosing whom they'd want to make emergency medical decisions for them if they could not make them for themselves. A HIPAA medical release, making sure they have designated who can make medical decisions, or I'm sorry, who can have access to medical information and be informed. It could be even just what hospital room somebody's in. That is a medical record, technically. By the by, this is different than the HIPAA releases you sign at the doctor's office or at a hospital, because it's not an either or, it's an and. Those are things you absolutely should sign, but it's only good for that location, and it may only be good for that particular visit. So these are universal portable documents, particularly for kids that are going off to other states and so forth. And we also recommend doing what's called a financial power of attorney. That just allows, if there's any sort of assets, a bank account, sometimes even records that they have at school or vehicles or anything like that, they would be able to handle those. Now, this is only a power of attorney, and this is the same for everybody, is only valid while you're alive. So I do want to talk about some things when in the event, and it's very, very sad, but in the event that a young person passes away. And so when we talk to parents and then talk to their adult, air quote, children, we talk about, all right, do they have a bank account? Do you need to be able to um, put a POD, a pay on death, to somebody there? Do they have a car? Is it in their name and their parents' name? So there are some other things that we try to factor in. Oh, on the power of attorney, that can also help, like if you're helping them build credit and they're getting a credit card or something like that. So that's typically what we recommend. One thing, though, that I really, really, really want to emphasize, because it is a strange phenomenon. Whenever we promote getting this planning done, you have an 18, 19, 20 plus year old, parents, and it's geared towards parents, because I'm sorry, I've done this for 19 years. That's, I think, a long time by a lot of people's estimation, or at least enough time to have some experience and data, under my belt. And I just have yet to see any 18, 19, 20, 30, 40, 50-year olds. No, just kidding. Well, not exactly. But point being, that are on their own saying, hey, I really need a lawyer. I really need to make sure I've designated someone to make medical decisions for me. I mean, I know 18-year-olds that think that you can end a wash cycle 10 minutes early because you're just in a rush, and then you can put soaking wet clothes in a dryer, and then it floods the dryer, and then you get a water alert when you're trying to go to a nice dinner. This is hypothetical. I do not personally have any experience with something like this. So the idea that they on their own. So as an interesting phenomenon that we have seen is, whenever we do like sponsored advertisements about this, we'll get some people who are like, well, that's the kid's choice. Well, that's their decision. They should be able to. And we're like, we're not debating that. Like, that is kind of the point of what we're saying. We're gearing it towards the parents, because it's pretty much going to be the parents who are going to say, hey, air quote, child, you should or air quote, adult, you should really get these things in place. And a lot of the times, A lot of times it's the parents, but it may be a step parent, it may be an aunt, uncle, it may be someone, sometimes, if they are estranged from one of their parents, that they want to make sure that they put somebody else. So yeah, we get that. That's part of our point, is that at the end of the day, they're still the ones signing it. They're still the ones making the decisions. I don't know what world these people live in, but the fact of the matter is we're messaging the parents and directing it towards the parents because 99% of the times they're the ones that are going to make this happen. Am I right, Burch Law team?
Yes.
1000%.
Yeah. I've
What do you think's
been a
triggering
notary.
people?
I feel like people just get defensive. They're like, it's
Yeah.
just something in the air. People are just so defensive, I guess.
They've probably been on like the internet and just obviously on the internet, but seeing like the horror stories of like parents like controlling their child after they're turned 18 in like a not healthy way. And so they see these as not helping their kid, but trying to like control them more. Like the ones
So
that will pull up their professors and ask for their grades. And it's like, no, you can't do that
right.
anymore.
I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's the thing. They can pick whomever they want. And that is the point. Slight tangent. And then when I hear what Cyntia was going to say, you said In the Air, and it made me think of the song In the Air Tonight by Phil Collins. And before
Amazing song.
we started this, we were talking about songs being played at your funeral and actually looking at the lyrics. And I thought, what would that be a funeral song?
I mean, the drums go hard, so that would actually
True.
be pretty fun.
You want people to have a good
Yes.
time at your funeral.
I want that. I want the drums to
Yeah.
go pretty hard at my funeral is what I want.
We could just have the drums on loop, nothing else.
Oh, Cyntia will outlive Luke.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, the lyrics, yeah. I mean, I think you should have a few songs picked out depending on how you die.
True.
Yes. I'm doing that
Right?
tonight.
Because I could see a scenario where like, oops, I did it again might fit, depending on what happened. Anyway, Cyntia, what were you going to say in regards to 18-year-olds, air quote, adults?
Well, no, it was mostly about whenever they come in to have these documents notarized by us. 9 times out of 10, when I've done this, the kid comes in by themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They look at the documents. I would ask them, do you understand what this is? Are these new to you? And they're typically like, no, I know what this is. Yeah, that's fine. Are both my parents on here? And they'll like double check sometimes the phone number. And it's like the thought that it's like, we're not coercing anybody. The parents aren't coercing them. Like,
if we could coerce people to sign legal documents, there would be a lot more people than 30% or less that have estate planning documents.
We'd be so much more efficient with actually closing cases.
Yeah, for sure. So with becoming an air quote adult, a lot of things come with that. And I believe that the team has prepared some things to talk about that also comes with this rite of passage. So who wants to jump in on that?
Okay, so the first one we have is voting. Sara was really excited for me to do this one because I can't vote. So that you turn 18 and you can vote.
Because you're
not a U.S. citizen.
Did you say you haven't voted? Is that what you said?
No, I can't.
She can't.
I only have my green card. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, listeners might not.
Listeners might not be aware.
Would you?
Yeah. 100%.
Would you vote
for?
Hey, Sara?
Yeah, Lorie, every time I vote in the future, once I finally have my citizenship, I'm just going to write Lorie Burch.
I mean, you can do a write-in. Yeah.
That's fair.
Like there's people that did Harambe in 2016.
Was that the gorilla that was shot?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like a good, couple, I think, 1,000 or more put in Harambe.
Yeah. And yet a lot of younger people don't vote.
Yeah, what's that about?
Have you ever missed an election, Sara? Do you vote in every election?
I do vote.
in the
Yeah, one
primaries?
time she didn't hang out
Yeah.
with us because she was going to go vote. And then we were like, Pixar didn't happen. And she actually did send a selfie of
Oh,
herself.
the sticker
with
was on
I
her
delivered.
forehead.
Yeah, she
I
delivered.
remember.
The sticker
delivered.
of I voted
Right.
was on her forehead.
hmm
And then Sam and I
And
were like, and we can't vote.
Saying that she could vote. It's fine.
that's true. Oh, I didn't think about that. Only half of us have the legal
Yeah.
ability to vote now.
Listen, the fact that
Yeah.
most polling places are libraries threaten my husband with a good time. He will be at
Oh,
that
yeah.
library, he will vote, and then he'll come home with like 50 books.
I get him.
What do you think about the poll greeting? How do you feel about the people? Like the people who are there, like, hey, here to vote?
Oh,
Let me talk to you
Oh.
about my person.
Oh.
I've done that for you.
I know.
love
Yeah,
that.
I poll greeted for Lorie.
I had an
Oh,
Elvis
that.
impersonator at poll
Yeah.
greeting with me one
Of
time.
course.
no way.
Yeah.
I would
Totally.
expect nothing less.
Yeah.
It did.
That's cool.
And
That's fun.
we don't even align on the same political side of the fence, but we align on something that is much more that is higher, a higher purpose, that is more transcendent. That's what I was trying to think about, and that is the king of rock and roll. And I'm just going to say this right now, and I would challenge any diehard Elvis fan who truly, truly knows the man. I don't mean the music, but I mean inside and out. He would be a diehard liberal, and that is fact. Just like Jesus was a diehard liberal.
Oh,
You don't have to
Getting a little
like that,
spicy.
but
we're
I mean, it's just kind of all there. I mean, at least in these political times, I believe that I would die on that hill. Anyway, yes. So I had an Elvis impersonator or tribute artist. They want to be called that
tribute
now.
artist.
Elvis tribute artists, and they yes. So I had one that was pretty. It was pretty awesome. Actually, it was a friend of one of our former security guards who was also an Elvis tribute
Yeah.
artist.
Cool.
Oh, I wonder how
And
Mike's doing.
He
Shout out
lined
to
him up.
Mike. If you're
Hi,
listening.
Mike.
Of course, he's listening. Mike Galvin, everybody.
Go, Mike.
Yes, he's a good guy. Yeah. So so voting, and my experience, and from what I've been told, is we do deal with a lot of younger people who don't vote, and it seems to be something that if you grow up around it, that you're more likely to be someone who does that as you get to that age. So I don't know, Sarah, is that a new thing for you, or did you grow up around parents and family members that were like, oh yeah, you gotta go vote, that's the thing to do?
I don't really remember really growing up around it. I'm sure they did, but like honestly, I think it's more so just when I went to college is when I was like, oh, I should really vote.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't until I was like a air quote adult that I was like, oh, this is serious. This is
Serious.
And I mean,
important.
whenever like
Yeah.
election time comes around, you guys like highly encourage us to vote as well. So I think that's also
It's even in our employee handbook.
Yes, it is that you get time to go vote. Sam and I will look at you and we will say, go vote because we can't. And it's always a good little reaction that we get from
And
people.
I will say, we never tell you how to vote, but that's because we've already screened you before we hired you. So just to show the age difference between all of us, the very first time I voted, it was absentee voted. For the first time I voted in a presidential election, it was absentee voting because I was doing a special semester in college at American University in DC. And I remember sitting on my bed, and it was like the rectangular styrofoam that I had to put the ballot on top of, and I had a little pin that I had to punch.
Oh.
And then mail it in. What do you think of that? Why is it weird?
I don't know. That's just a weird way to do it. Like, why
you know
not
what's
mark?
weird is a banana at the end of your bed for Christmas Day.
Oh my God.
It seems inefficient.
Yeah.
Well,
Like,
this was the before times, Sarah. Before
times
wheels
of
and
yore.
sliced bread.
Before wheels?
Yes,
Hey,
yesteryear.
Lorie, how old are you trying to say you were?
I'm not. I'm but a baby.
Mortal.
I'm just no longer an air quote adult. I am a full blown adult.
Yeah.
All right. So 18. What else comes with that?
So you can now sue someone, which is fun.
Ooh.
I personally have never done that, but
Yet.
it's there
Yeah.
if you.
Have I told you I got sued at 18?
What?
Yeah,
No.
have you not heard this story?
Yeah. So I went to community college for my first 2 years, and it was like 10 minutes from my house. I got my
Was it
driver's
trying to
license.
vote fraudulently?
Yeah, totally. And I was leaving the community college. I was turning left, but it wasn't turning green, so people were just yielding and going. And me only having for my license for like 3 months at that point, because I waited so I didn't have to do permit. I did the same thing, but I, as a dumb 18-year-old would do, didn't look to my right fully. I thought nobody was coming, but they were. I T-boned them. And then they thought I was hit and running, but I was just moving out of the way of the intersection and coming around to see if they were right, because they went through the island and they like ran after me, but then they sued me for $1 million each. Yeah.
I assume they did not win.
I know it's settled because, I mean, it was my fault because I shouldn't have technically gone. But I don't know how much was for insurance, settled it. But they also, the guy who was driving wasn't meant to be driving. I think he had like a suspended license. And then they like were a week later, were like, our necks really hurt. We feel really bad. And it's like, I did not hit you that hard. Like you were. No.
Yeah. That's how those things go typically.
Yeah. So.
Did you not have insurance?
I did. It got like settled through my parents' insurance.
Okay.
Yeah. They tried to serve me for like 2 weeks, but I was never home. And then I finally got served. Right as I was leaving for the 5 seconds of summer concert.
Good
times.
They took one look at you and said, deep pockets.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, no, I don't have, no, not at all. But I think they saw a scared 18-year-old who had no idea what to do and went, oh, yeah, we can take advantage of her. And they did. So here we are.
So not only can you sue people at 18 years of age, but you can be sued.
Yeah.
Yep.
At 18
Don't
years
recommend.
of age.
It's terrifying.
How exciting.
Yeah.
You really don't have a choice to be sued or not.
No.
In my experience, but what is that? Okay, what else? What else are these rites of passage besides getting legal planning?
So when you're 18, so obviously you can go off to college because you graduated high school. You can you can have sanity and bring it to college, but you can also lose it because it's college. Is really the best way to put it.
Did you say sanity?
Yeah, sanity. Yeah. You just lose your mind at college. It's
Sandy
fine.
cheeks.
What is happening right now?
It sounded like you said Sandy.
Sandy cheeks from SpongeBob.
She said sanity. I know she has a slight accent, Sarah.
And you knew what I was saying. You're the one that wrote this one. Wasn't me.
So a rite of passage is to lose your sanity at college.
Yeah. Whether it's for a week or 4 years, you lose it at some point.
I mean, I don't know if it's sanity, but I definitely know it's common sense.
Yeah. Maybe that's a better one. Yeah, common sense.
Or sandy cheeks.
Sarah, you really pull some things out.
Incidentally, besides Gary, is my favorite SpongeBob character. Is your GPS
Was that
on?
Siri?
Whenever I said your name a little bit ago, it heard, and I was trying to stop it before
she went slam.
I did.
That happens when I say Gary. Oh no, we have headphones.
We have headphones in, so only your devices in your pod are gonna register.
Whenever I say my cat's name, my phone always thinks I'm saying Siri.
Actually, why did my
phone
Barry. Go off? Oops. Okay, cut that sound out. Okay, so what I dropped my pen.
One thing I put on here, so I'm gonna go like really extremes. One of the things is whenever you turn 18, you can now operate a meat slicer at a grocery store.
Dangerous.
I was
How
like, wow,
exciting.
yeah, really exciting. Another thing you can do
Wait,
is
can we sit with that for a minute?
Yeah.
I don't know what there is to sit with.
I've got a few questions. One, why do you know that?
Because I looked it up. I did research before this.
Okay. All
Google.
right. So
Because
okay.
like I typically have more real things, things that just go whoosh and like over people's heads, or things that are not as entertaining. So I
Yeah.
thought, let me bring in something wacky like Sarah and Sam do,
You're here to
and then go
be.
into like the complete polar opposite. Like, for example,
Oh
if you
no.
are underage and for some reason you sign a contract, is it valid? No, not really. However, let's say you sign something whenever you're underage. Whenever you turn 18, you can choose to ratify it or not. So you can choose at that point to make it valid, even though you signed it whenever you were underage.
Can we
Underage.
go back to the meat slicer?
No.
Cyntia is here to be #relatable. Today.
Listen, I'm
Except
one
the
extreme or
contract
the
one.
other.
The contract one doesn't feel very relatable.
How is that
But
not relatable? I feel it's good knowledge.
how often does that
Using the
happen?
word ratify.
I did say the word ratify. Listen, I'm a product of my environment.
More the professional, not so much the sparkles. So
Yeah, I'm more the profession.
do you
Where's the
think the meat
sparkles?
slicer thing has to do with the degree of like danger and liability?
100%. If something happens and you are liable like for something harm that comes to a minor, that is much different than liability for something that an adult does, because they're supposed to be,
What
with it, but
about
they're not.
what about a meat grinder?
I mean, I can Google that.
Sarah, can you cut this
I
part
don't.
out because I don't want to get her in trouble. But my theater teacher, like the tech theater teacher, would let us use the saw, just like freehand, until she accidentally cut a little bit of her pinky off my senior year, and she was like, "No more! You're gonna wear the goggles. You're gonna wear the gloves. I have to be there." And we were like, "It wasn't even us. It was you." But yeah, we were just really
Sarah,
yeah.
do
That was
not
it.
cut that out.
Yeah,
I
no,
want
that's
to get her
staying
in
in. I'm sorry, Sam.
trouble.
Oh, okay. Okay,
I wanna get her in
so the Fair Labor Standards Act, my bad, says it prohibits workers under the age of 18 in non-agricultural occupations from operating powered equipment, such as food slicers and meat grinders, because it's considered hazardous. So yes, both. I have at home one of the hand meat grinders, and every now and then I'll go to like Hirsch's Meat Market and get like really good cuts of meat and grind my own meat for chili or for meatballs. It's a real good time.
We love you, Hirsch.
We love them.
Not sponsored.
Also, clients.
Hopefully, maybe one day sponsored.
They would sponsor us.
I love them.
Speaking of children working underage, did you see the Saturday Night Live sketch with Jake Gyllenhaal, which we shall not speak of, boo, which we know all too well.
Good one.
But thank you.
10-minute version.
Yes,
The
only.
10-minute
That's the
version.
only one that exists.
That's all that exists for me now.
Yeah.
Over the weekend, where they basically reference certain online places where you can get like clothes for like $3 or $4. Did you
No, I
did you
haven't.
hear anything about this?
Wait, no.
And I'm Googling it.
Is it the one that where they're like, you need to stop buying from here, and they just go no, or something like that?
Well,
It's-
it does ask at the end, like, so
Yeah.
are you going to stop buying from here? No. But they're like, what is it? So buy online now, way less, unbeatable prices, dresses, $10, shoes, $5. How so cheap? Don't worry about it.
Sorry about-
Not made with forced labor.
This took a dark turn, guys.
No prisoners involved. What did there used to be?
Oh no.
Don't worry about it. Tank tops $3.99. No prisoners. Normal number of working hours. So like 40 or what? Don't worry about it. Anyway, so you really should be 18 before you are working under those
Meat
laws.
price.
especially a meat slicer.
Especially me.
Or grinder, meat grinder.
Yes. What else? What else is a rite of passage as we are celebrating graduations?
Scratch off tickets. You can go gamble now. Go throw away all your money.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
But you know, you might win. So it's
Yeah.
kind of worth it.
Little crossword ones are fun. I like those.
Usually at Christmas, we get some in our stockings.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to share this story, and I might need you to cut it out, Sarah. I don't know
Okay.
what the laws are around this now, but I know what they were when I was in high school. And so
I will go out of my way to go to Country Burger on a weekend.
I need you guys to take me here.
well, you all should make a plan and come have lunch with me sometime.
Yeah.
Although they've now opened a Jake's across the street from the Country Burger, so it's actually in the same intersection, and they have the poppy seed muffin burgers.
Ooh.
Are they like a burger place?
Sam, I just
never
said they had poppy seed muffin.
Well, like, do
burgers.
they just do like
And you
burgers, or
said-
they do like giant?
Well,
like,
it's an Italian restaurant.
oh, okay,
But
nice.
they do
Yeah.
burgers.
Yeah, they're branching out. That's cool.
Italian burgers.
Jesus.
Spaghetti burger.
This part is being left in, Sarah.
Maybe they do other stuff.
What other rites of
Oh,
passage?
it's very cool. Jake's Burgers.
Well, okay, so
So Sam,
Your
what does
sign
your
does
heart
look
tell
very
you?
Italian, though. It's got the red and the green and the white.
Sarah, I am so sorry. And this is right off the conversation about what can we do to make the editing of the podcast easier. And this
that's
is gonna
okay. We were
be-
doing so good.
This is going to be
We're
the
still
single
doing
most
good. This
edited
burger looks really
podcast
good. The poppy seed burger.
that you've ever.
Seasonal.
I mean, it is. Park does not run parallel. Yes, it does.
Yes, it does.
How is that? So Custer. Oh, it's
Do they have
Custer.
steaks and stuff?
Custer?
It's Custer and 15. That's where the Albertsons used to be. That's where the
They have
Country
French
Burger
toast,
used to
eh?
be.
Okay, yeah.
Because then Alma, that's where, it's not what used to be there. It's there right now, the Canes. And then you
The
go further
Canes.
down to 75 and they closed the On the Border. So it's where the On the Border used to be.
Yeah.
And it's where Collin Creek Mall used to be. And it's where Boston
Yes.
Market used to be. And it's where Super Salad used to be.
Wait,
and
is
it's
that-
where.
Is the Boston Market no longer? Oh, the Boston Market. Okay, never mind. There is a Boston Market close to 75, but it's a little bit south, I think.
Jake's Burgers has a lot more than burgers.
They have Italian.
No, they have like French toast and eggs and
Eggs.
steak.
Do we want to talk about how people say eggs?
They have
No,
hot
we
dogs.
don't. Do they have flapjacks?
I mean, technically, but it says pancakes, not flapjacks, unfortunately. Ooh.
Is there a difference between pancakes and flapjacks?
No, I don't think so.
Hold on. Their rewards thing, it says be a meathead, earn rewards.
Oh, I don't like meat.
I don't like that.
Why? Do you like a
Yes.
meaty
It was
cone?
ick.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Interesting.
I mean,
Sounds
you can also skydive when you turn 18.
One more time, Sarah. Sounds like
Ooh.
Wait, Sarah, what was that?
I was just gonna say, you know, it sounds like manly. Meathead.
I just saw her go. Sounds like
And she did like
Yeah.
buff arms.
Muscles.
Ooh.
what's that?
If that's what you call that. All right, let's get back on track.
Yeah.
So, Cyntia, what were you saying is another rite of passage at 18?
Well, it's not a rite of passage. It's more something you can do. You can go skydiving.
So you have to go skydiving at 18?
It's a requirement.
I know some people that did. Like, yeah. I don't know that I
Be
would.
willing.
Mm-mm.
I'd be willing to bet that you can be under 18 with parental consent.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Well, here's the
I
problem with
would
what
do
you're
it.
doing, Cynthia, is you're just Googling a bunch of stuff, which is
Mhm.
actually the exact opposite of the point of this podcast, is that people come for expertise and not Googling. But I guess when it comes to things like this, it's not as consequential or nuanced
Yeah, no.
as
And
practicing
this is
law.
also I look at my sources and I don't just go to like, something that doesn't have .gov or actually showing me the thing. And
Do you go to
also
Truth
something that
Social?
no.
Yeah.
Another thing I take for granted, which was really shown at the beginning of the podcast, is I know some stuff. There is some stuff I know. So I know how to build on top of the stuff I know and then double check it.
I just want to go on the record that according to my 5-year-old, I know 1% stuff.
You made your sound really weird there. But yeah, you know 1%
I liked it.
stuff.
That's fun. Do be knowing things though.
And yes, there are some places that will allow you to go skydiving underage with the permission of a guardian.
See,
Okay,
told you.
right on.
See, I know stuff. That's part of my 1%.
Like, I mean, yeah, you know stuff too. That's just one of those things.
Sarah,
but
what you
typically-
got?
I can say as a certified air quote adult that I have done all these things except for use a meat grinder. Well, and skydive. But so I think
Oh,
that's
I was
my
about to say,
expertise
dang,
there.
Sarah,
I
you
was
gone
skydiving? Whoa.
That's wait, what? I couldn't hear what you said because
I've done all these things except for these 5 things, which are all that we've
No,
mentioned.
she said two: meat grinder and skydiving.
Meat grinder, skydiving. Everything
you go
else
skydiving?
I would go skydiving.
I
Now that I have my will.
Oh, yeah. How long did I have to pester you to get it done?
A
Months.
long time.
Months.
I would not go skydiving.
I would not either. No, thank you.
Mm-mm.
I don't have that like need for a thrill
No.
like that. And
No.
I'm not, and I say that somewhat sadly, but
I do like
confidently.
roller coasters, like that type of thrill, but like jumping from a high plane sounds terrifying and not a
Skydiving
fun
is
way.
just like it's a roller coaster adjacent.
You know
No,
what?
I'm
Hold on.
not
You know what I
strapped in.
might do? You know those indoor skydiving places where it's the big fan?
Oh yeah, maybe
Like,
that.
I may do that, but I don't have like an
The urge.
interest. Let's
Yeah.
say if I have a friend who's having like a birthday party there, like, okay, fine, I'll do it. But I'm not going to seek it out myself.
Mm.
I don't really care to.
Gotta live for the thrill.
Sarah,
should
I
go to a theme
will
park.
wait on the ground for you, and whenever you land, I will cheer.
Yeah, I'll clap.
Yeah.
if you land.
If
Well,
Yeah.
when she lands. I need
Well,
her.
you're gonna land. I guess how
Okay,
you
whenever
land.
she
Actually-
safely lands, whenever the parachute has deployed,
Well,
she and her little tandem person, glide
the
down.
parachute deploys.
Do you have a Burch Law parachute?
Sarah Ann.
Have you guys seen the video of the
Whoa.
guy in Australia who skydives and he like parachutes down and a kangaroo comes and like punches him? I think about that a lot more than I should.
did you witness that live?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I was there. Yeah, I was the kangaroo.
You're in Australia. You're from New Zealand.
What?
What? Oh,
This-
well, we need to have a talk.
This is why we won't let you vote here.
Ooh.
But speaking of parachutes, it's actually one of my go-to comparisons when it comes to DIY forms and everything. Is that would you want? And people who think that it's like better than nothing, and I will say is that like saying that a parachute with holes in it is better than nothing
Yeah.
because you're still gonna fall hard.
Splat.
Yikes. Yikes. All right. So as we draw to a close here, I don't want to prematurely miss anything. So I believe that there was at least one more thing that I at least see in the chat here that
Yeah.
seems
Very confused by it.
irrelevant.
So Sierra wrote it as Ramen Unlimited, but the way we meant it was you really just have free will when you go off to college, which means you can like eat all the ramen you want and like stuff
Make
like
that
that.
life
Yeah.
decisions.
Yeah, you
I mean,
really
Yeah, pretty
just-
much.
Yeah, like it's the first time you're like by yourself, most likely, without like parental overview. So really, you just that first semester, you really go ham.
So best
I wouldn't
to
know
have
because I lived at home.
either way, best to have your legal documents in place to bring this full circle.
Issuing too
Because
much
it sounds like as you enter into the air quote adulthood, you become more reckless and careless and have less guidance and more freedom. So, what better time to make sure that you've got your medical power of attorney, medical record release, financial power of attorney, and other sorts of guidance to make sure that the sane people in your life, whether that's a parent or not, has the legal ability to step in and act for you. Am I right?
You're right.
You're so right.
Excellent.
So right.
All right. So, hey, everybody, tell your friends, not your parents, because we don't want to talk to the parents because some people get very touchy about us directing this messaging towards parents. But once you turn 18, no one has automatic rights to make decisions. And so make sure that if you care about anyone, and if you don't care about anyone, that's sad, but that's beyond the scope of our expertise. But if you do, then spread the word that it's important to have that. And then you can join us next time on another thrilling installment of One of Us Knows What They're Talking About, and the other one is you.